Hey guys, Nick here. So today we'll be doing a comparison between the Yamaha Kodiak 450 and the Honda Rancher. Now, to do the most fair comparison, instead of doing just two base models, I decided to do a Rancher with the full automatic transmission in it because the Yamaha is fully automatic, and with the independent rear suspension Rancher model, as the Yamaha comes standard with independent rear suspension. Now, when I compare these two machines today, we're going to focus on a few different topics, some of which will include towing, handling, power output, storage on the machines, how easy is it for you to operate it, and more. So let's get started. Now, as we get into this comparison, I want to thank JAF Motors, located in Glenville, New York, for allowing me to borrow these two machines for the day to get some ride time on them and show you, of course, what they're about and helping you decide what's right for you. I will have their info pop up on the screen as well down below, so be sure to check them out if you're looking into getting any of Honda or Yamaha's products. But with that being said, let's talk about pricing on these two units. So we're going to be talking about pricing, of course, that is 2024 model coordinated. Now, this Kodiak right here I'm showing you is a 23, but I will be giving you the price for 24 because the Rancher on the left is a 24. So all pricing and comparison stuff is going to be talking about 2024 models because that's what's current and is basically out or coming out. The Yamahas just haven't arrived yet in 24s. This is one of the last 23s that arrived. And it's the same thing as the 24. They basically just changed the plastics on it. So for a 2024 Kodiak 450 in blue, like that one right there, it's going to run you $69.99, but that's of course without destination and freight. So a freight, you're actually looking at $75.59 out the door. So through a good Yamaha dealer like JAF Motors, you'll be able to get one out the door for that exact price, and you just have to pay sales tax on top of that. Now with the Kodiak 450, you can get it finished in the blue here, and you can also get it finished in a green tone. But now let's talk about the pricing on the Rancher. So base model Rancher, it's going to run you $7,099, not including destination freight, which would then put you at $7,719. So that's what the base model is going to run you. But what is the independent with the rear suspension going to run you? Well, $8,099 before destination and freight. So once you tag that on, you're looking at $87.19 out the door for this exact Rancher right here. So for $1,000, you're getting a full automatic that you can hit a button and shift or put it in gear and go, and you're also getting the independent rear suspension. Now, it is also worth mentioning this Rancher is finished in the Solstice Orange. Yes, it's not red. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up too well, but it's basically a high-vis orange, and sometimes the camera picks it up as high-vis. A lot of times it's picking it up as a red tone or just purely red, but I can assure you it's basically a bright orange. Now, you can also get it in Avenger Red, which is red, and Black Forest Green, which is just a really dark green. They just for 24 updated the red, which is now a deeper red. But now let's move on and talk about the drivetrain on each of these. Now, powering the Kodiak 450, you'll find a 421cc fuel-injected, liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine, which is paired up to a CVT transmission. Now, a nice little feature about the Kodiak 450 is it has a built-in high and low range. But now let's talk about the powertrain on the Rancher. Now let's talk about what powers the Rancher. Well, you'll find a 420cc fuel-injected, liquid-cooled, single-cylinder engine as well, which is paired up to a 5-speed transmission. And this is a real transmission, gear-on-gear action. So there's no belts, there's no worrying about belt slippage. I'm not pointing a finger at Yamaha with belt slippage issues because, quite frankly, that doesn't happen. And plus, the Yamaha does have a 10-year warranty on the belt. So the nice thing with that Rancher, though, is of course, this one is that automatic model. So what that means is on the handlebar, you'll find a little button you'll shift that you can manually shift through the 5 gears, or you can have it in the full automatic mode and it'll do all the shifting, put it in gear, and you just go. But let's turn them around and look at the back. Now, looking at the back of the machines, they're going to look pretty similar, but they of course are very different. When it comes to towing, both of these have little loops where you can put a little ball on and you can tow whatever kind of trailers you want to tow. And of course, same right on the Kodiak. Now I would say the back on the Yamaha is a bit boring. It's not a single sticker of any sort. There is some reason a warning label on the back of the Honda on the right fender there. And then you have another nice sticker telling you that you have a Rancher automatic. And on the rear quarters, it tells you that you have independent rear suspension on both sides of the Honda, which is nice. Also something to make note of, the exhaust on the Rancher points right out, and the exhaust on the Kodiak loops down and shoots downwards. So if you're walking around this or you're behind it, the exhaust fumes are kind of shooting out or they're shooting down. So it's kind of nice if they're shooting down, they're not really hitting you, but it's not something you're really going to notice or it's really much to like make note of. So it's just interesting how they do that little design there, how it loops down on a Yamaha, which is nice. The exhaust isn't shooting out and hitting you when you walk around it versus the Rancher. But quite frankly, no one's going to notice that, and it's not something to make a deal out of. Now it is worth noting I have individual models on both the Kodiak and the Ranchers, going through the whole kind of drive systems, driving them, all the compartments, oil, the whole 9 yards. So if you really want to get nitty gritty, battery location all under seats, stuff like that, be sure to check out some of my other videos. All of them pop up on cards or they'll be linked down below. So if you want a real thorough video on just a single one of these, be sure to check those out. Now with that being said, I'm going to walk up to the Kodiak here. Turn our key on, fuel's right here in the middle, fuel gauge, 4-wheel drive light, 4-wheel drive button, it would light up there. So not too much to see in your screen here, reverse and a park light on the left side. Here's your shifter I talked about. So what's real nice about how easy these are to drive as well. Let's start it up. So we're in neutral, put one forward, we're in high, and we can go, right? Or we have low range, which you shift all the way up there, and that's right, just like that. And to go in reverse, we go back to here. Reverse light goes right on the dashboard, just like that. And when we're done, go all the way back, and that's our park. Of course, headlight switches, starter, and that's really it on the Kodiak. Alrighty, so taking a look at the Rancher, fuel gauge tells you on the info. It actually tells you a little more than the Kodiak, which is nice. Odometer, trips, coolant temperature, your hours, countdown, 100 miles or 20 hours, counts down from for your first service. So you get tells you a few more things on the Rancher for information. Starting it up, 4-wheel drive. It's a lever. You push forward, pops up right on the dash, real easy. When you go to drive this, you have auto and ESP. So all you do is hit the button up. It shows a D, that's a D, not an O, for drive. So that basically means you hit the gas and you go. There's all the shifting for you. Or you do ESP, which you can do on the fly while you're driving it whenever you want. Put in ESP, it will tell you what gear you're in, and it will not shift until you hit the shifter. And right here it gives you a little diagram. Auto, D, neutral, reverse, versus ESP 1 through 5. So let's say we have an auto, we come to a stop. How do we want to go into reverse? Well, what's nice is you don't have to go all the way down to neutral. You can leave it in drive. There's this little lever back here. Hit that, downshift, and it goes into reverse for you. So real nice, easy system on the automatic Rancher. This is going to be an acceleration test. We're going to do about half throttle on the Kodiak and the Rancher. So let's try the Rancher. And when I pass the camera, we'll see what mile per hour I'm doing at half throttle. So 3, 2, 1. So right at half throttle, that was 29 mile an hour passing the camera. 28, 29 at half throttle. Full automatic mode, I wasn't shifting either. So that was pretty good. So let's see what the Kodiak does. Alrighty, so let's line up. tire tracks right with where the Rancher was. And we're gonna do half throttle once again. Right when I pass the camera, we'll see what mile an hour we're doing. So, 3, 2, 1. So with the Kodiak, we hit 31 mile an hour at the same spot. So basically 2 mile an hour faster than the Rancher, but the Rancher felt a lot faster. The Kodiak, because the RPMs kind of stay steady, it gradually accelerates versus the Rancher. It revs up and then it shifts, so it revs down or revs back up, you know, like a car does. But the Rancher felt a lot faster, yet the mile an hour was pretty much identical on both of them. I mean, the Kodiak was showing 2 more, but depending where I put my thumb to for half throttle is going to depend on that. But the acceleration felt faster on the Rancher is my point there. But for some reason, the Kodiak actually was quicker. A fun little fact too on these is that the Kodiak, it's lighter by about 30 pounds than the Rancher, but this has a 3.7 gallon tank and the Rancher has a 3.9 gallon fuel tank. The Kodiak, I guess, might have it then with full tank of gas and everything, or if you had the same amount of gas in them, the Kodiak probably would still have it by about 15 pounds, 20 pounds. So, you know, they're very similar weight class as well. Now from riding the Rancher and the Kodiak, the Rancher has a more sporty feel to it, as most Ranchers typically do, because of the drivetrain, the way they're geared. It's not a belt drive system. You know, the experience of a Honda ATV is very different than from other ATV makers. But when it came to like performance in a straight line, the Kodiak and the Rancher were pretty dead even. The Kodiak actually had it by about 2 miles an hour, and they're very similar in weight. Now, if you're looking to tow and work one of these, I would personally go with the Rancher. Because of that real transmission, what's nice is you can manually shift it. So if you're pulling a heavy trailer, you can downshift it and kind of engine brake. If you're on a steep hill or moving something really heavy and you don't want to have it pushing you so much, being able to kind of lock it in gear and leave it in first gear. And that first gear is a real low gear on this too. And Kodiak doesn't have that kind of low end power that the Rancher does. When it gets up and revs up, the high end, the mid to high end is very good on the Kodiak, but the low end is where I feel it suffers. If you want something that's really easy to ride, you know, throw someone on it, go trail ride with someone, maybe one of your buddies, your friend, family member. It's not super into ATVs, but you want to get them out and ride. Kodiak's a great way to go. If you're looking for something for a property, just hop on every once in a while, kind of get around, just a go-getter, not really crazy heavy work, but maybe move a cart, some small stuff, just get from, you know, just get from one side of the property to the other. Kodiak's great for that. But I personally want to own a Kodiak if I planned on really heavily working and doing a lot more utility work with it. Just because of the way the transmission is, even with the low range, it just doesn't have that low end that the Rancher does. When I went to, in the earlier clip, you'll see I kind of popped the front end up and did a little wheelie with the Rancher. The Rancher had a lot more power and was a lot happier bringing that front end up than the Kodiak. If you want something with a lot of play to it, I would go Rancher. If you want something with a lot of work going for it, I would go Rancher. If you want something in the middle that you're going to do some light trail riding, or you're going to go do some work with it, but not too crazy heavy work, I would go Kodiak. And if you have friends or family members, maybe for your wife, or you have someone that's a little older or something that just kind of wants to get on, get around, isn't too fushy, just wants something simple that's easy to put in gear and just go, there's nothing more simple to drive than that Kodiak. That's kind of my thoughts on these two models. This is going to do it for this video. I hope you all did enjoy, found it useful. If you guys like more shoot-off kind of videos of Honda versus Yamaha, something like this in the future, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Give the video a like, subscribe if you are new, share the channel. That's really going to do it. Guys, all have a great day. Bye.